third grade friends, it's Mrs. Brown. And since we're not at school together, I'm excited to get to send you a story each week that we can read and learn about together. This week, I have an informational text for you. Do you know what that means? It means this nonfiction text has tons of facts all about Wolverines. Now, check that guy out. That doesn't look like the Wolverine I know. The Wolverine I know is a cartoon character. And let me tell you, my boys love him. Now, a cool tip I have for you is when you find a book, to see if you might like it or not, if you turn it over, sometimes there'll be a little snippet on the back that kind of previews the book for you to see if you like it or not. Let's check this one out. It says, "The chase is on. Keeping track of a Wolverine isn't easy. Just ask the scientist who lost a young Wolverine on his journey over hundreds of miles." Ooh, that sounds exciting. Let's take a look and preview some of the text features we're going to see in On the Trail of the Wolverine. Here's our table of contents. Do you know what a table of contents does? It tells us all the different sections and what page we can find them in the book. Let's go to our first section. There's a heading, and it says, "One fast and sneaky animal." What do you think this section's going to be about? Let's take a look, see if we can see any clues. Well, I think there's a Wolverine, and he's walking on some snow pretty easily. Check it out. Here's another picture. These are snowshoes. Snowshoes are kind of like fancy snow boots and skis all mixed together. It makes walking on deep snow easy. Let's see what the caption says. "Deep snow doesn't stop Wolverines, but people need snowshoes or skis." Let's see what the first paragraph says. "What do a Wolverine and a bank robber have in common? Neither one wants to be caught, and finding either one can mean high-speed, exciting chase. One group of scientists learned this the hard way." Whoa. Take a look. There's the scientists. We'll see them more in the next section called Trapping a Wolverine. Ooh, that looks like some harsh climate right there. And take a look. If we flip all the way to page 12, there is a picture of a Wolverine. Oh, what do you notice about him? Oh, I see those big sharp teeth, and he does not look happy in that picture. Let's see what the caption says. "Wolverines have strong jaws and teeth that can crush bones. They eat just about any animal, dead or alive, that they can find." Whew. I wouldn't want to cross his path. Check it out. This is the Wolverine that we're going to read about that the scientists find. His name is M56. That's a strange name. I wonder how he got it. Let's go back to the beginning of the book and read it together and see what we can learn about Wolverines. On the trail of the Wolverine. One fast, sneaky animal. What do a Wolverine and a bank robber have in common? Neither one wants to be caught, and finding either one can mean a high-speed, exciting chase. One group of scientists learned this the hard way. Wolverines are meat-eating animals like lions and bears. Scientists know a lot about lions and bears, but they haven't had many chances to study wolverines. There are good reasons why. Wolverines live in harsh, snowy places around the world. These places are hard to reach, but wolverines have no problems traveling in the snow. They have wide feet that work like snowshoes and let them walk on top of the deep snow. Now, we already read this caption, but let's go back and read this one because it's always important to read all the captions. They sometimes have really important details that weren't in the rest of the text. Built like small bears, wolverines live in cold, snowy areas. Wolverines are also fast and fierce. With their sharp teeth and claws, they aren't afraid of anything, even scientists. Scientists study wolverines because they want to learn more about them. They are also worried about the future of wolverines. Wolverines give birth in deep dens they dig in the snow, but many cold places around the world are getting warmer. When snow and ice start melting, wolverines have big problems because they need deep snow to build their dens. Wolverines travel from mountain to mountain hunting for food. People keep moving into these areas and building on the land. That makes it harder for wolverines to find food. Are there enough cold, wild places left for animals like wolverines? Scientists hoped that one wolverine would give them some answers. Ooh, check that out. It says wolverines are always on the run through rough land or deep snow. He's running so fast his feet aren't even touching the ground. Here's our next section, trapping a wolverine. A group of scientists headed deep into the wilderness in the state of Wyoming. They wanted to catch a wolverine, but it wouldn't be easy. Wolverines don't live in groups. They mostly live alone on the run. These animals travel hundreds of miles over tall, icy mountains. They can run more than 35 miles or 56 kilometers in one day. The scientists traveled for hours on snowmobiles and snowshoes far from roads and other people. They carried several large wooden traps. The scientists put meat inside each trap for bait. They hoped a wolverine would smell the meat and go inside. If a wolverine pulled on the bait, a door would shut and the animal would be trapped. The scientists had to wait to see if their traps would work. And there's the picture of them climbing. It says finding wolverines is hard work. Yes, sir. The scientists couldn't check each trap every day because the traps were too far apart. So they put a radio transmitter on each trap. A radio transmitter is a small radio that is often used to track animals. The transmitter sent out a beeping signal once every second. When the door on a trap shut, the signal beeped 2 times every second. Those double beeps meant it was time to check the trap. Excuse me. There's the wolverine, and it says, wolverines travel over a lot of territory. So the scientists set several traps over a large area. The scientists were excited to check the closed traps, even though they had to travel for hours to reach them. Sometimes they found an empty trap. A bird may have landed on the door, causing it to slam shut. Sometimes there was an animal inside the trap, but the wrong animal, like a bobcat or a fox. The scientists let these animals go. Then there was an old, hungry mountain lion that got caught over and over. When the scientist opened the door, she didn't seem to want to leave. She was waiting for more food. In December of 2008, the scientists traveled to a trap that had closed. They heard an animal pacing inside. They heard growling and they recognized the sound. Finally, they had caught a wolverine. There he is, a trapped wolverine. Oh, the page is ripped. Ooh, next section, caught. He doesn't look happy about it. The wolverine was very angry. Getting him out of the trap was going to be just as tricky as getting him into the trap. The scientists had to be careful. Wolverine jaws are so strong that they can bite through frozen meat. To avoid trouble, the scientists shot a dart into the trap. The dart had a drug that would put the animal to sleep for a short time. A few minutes later, the growling stopped and the wolverine was asleep. We read that caption earlier when we looked at that fierce picture. The scientists took the sleeping wolverine out of the trap and gave him a name, M56. He was young and weighed about 32 pounds, which is 14.5 kilograms. Next, they put a small radio tag under M56's skin. They also placed a GPS collar around his neck to collect information about where he traveled. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It uses signals from satellites above Earth to record information. By now, the drug was wearing off. M56 was waking up, but he was still sleepy. The scientists couldn't put him back in the wild yet. He might sleep too long and freeze in the snow, or a large animal might attack him, and he would not be able to fight back. So check it out. Here we go. M56's name. We're going to find out what that silly name's about. The scientists use numbers to keep track of all the Wolverines they find. They put an M in front of the number for a male and an F for a female. M56's name means that he's a male, and he's the 56th Wolverine that the scientists have trapped. Ooh. A scientist places a radio tag on a sleeping Wolverine. These tags can last 5 to 7 years. Radio tags and GPS collars do not hurt the animals. The scientists lined the trap with pine tree branches. Then they placed M56 back inside to let the drug wear off. The pine branches would help him keep warm. They closed the trap and left. The next morning they returned. M56 was awake, and he was very angry again. No one wanted to get in his way. The scientist stood behind the trap and pulled the door up. M56 ran out of the trap and into the woods, and soon he disappeared. There he goes. It says M56 began running as soon as the trap door opened. Ooh, next section, missing. All went well for a few months. Scientists kept track of M56 as he moved around. Sometimes a pilot in a small plane checked on him. The pilot would fly low so he could search for the Wolverine. As he flew, he often heard the signal from M56's tag. Then in March of 2009, the pilot lost the signal. M56 was gone. The pilot searched and searched but couldn't find him. The scientists guessed what had happened. Young Wolverines often leave one area to find their own territory in another area. M56 was on the move, but which way had he gone? Would the scientists ever find him again? Ooh, there's the airplane. Says, Mark Pakila, oh, that's a hard name to pronounce. I'm sorry, Mark, if I said your name wrong, is the pilot who followed M56. His plane could fly close enough to the ground to find the Wolverine. Tough loners. Scientists now know that each Wolverine calls a very large area home. Radio tracking has helped scientists learn that a male's territory can be up to 448 square miles, which is 1,160 square kilometers. A female's territory can be up to 174 square miles, which is 450 square kilometers. Except for when a female has babies. Wolverines live alone. Ooh, the chase. The pilot kept flying over the rocky, snowy mountains looking for M56. Finally, in April, he heard something. It was M56's signal. M56 was still on the move, and the chase was on. The pilot searched for M56's signal every chance he got. He had to stop at night because flying over the dark mountains was dangerous. One day, a few weeks later, the pilot heard the signal near a ranch. He landed his plane on a dirt road and got out. There was M56 eating a dead cow. The pilot was thrilled to be so close to him. Ooh, gross. The pilot found M56 in the Granite Mountains. Soon M56 was running again, but bad weather stopped the pilot from flying. When the weather cleared, the pilot found M56 moving from one group of mountains to another. Then M56 turned south toward the state of Colorado. Wolverines hadn't lived there since 1919. Scientists wondered if Wolverines could be expanding their habitat. This would be good news for Wolverines and for wild animals in general. M56 crossed big highways. He circled around the edge of a town. He kept going south. Then in June, M56 crossed into Colorado. The scientists cheered as though M56 had just won a big race. Ooh, check out the map. The pink lines are the path that M56 took, and then the yellow is a nearby highway. So here's the highway that cars and trucks travel on. And M56 went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. says M56 took one of the longest trips the scientists had ever seen a Wolverine take. Ooh, here's our last section. What's next for M56? Tracking M56's journey had felt like watching a very long race. The Wolverine had traveled 585 miles, which is 942 kilometers. Radio tracking wild animals like M56 is one of the best ways for scientists to learn where these animals live and how far they travel to survive in a changing world. Scientists are waiting to see what M56 will do next. Will he set off on another journey? If he does, then the scientists are ready. The chase will start again. Ooh, there's his tracks. Says M56 stopped in Rocky Mountain National Park in the state of Colorado. At the end of 2010, he was still there. Ooh, 2010. Now it's 2020. I wonder if he's still alive, little M56. That might be something I have to Google to find out. So check it out. On the Trail of a Wolverine. That was very informative. And I think my favorite part was learning how far they can travel. And if they are expanding their territories, then that'll be good because that means there'll be more Wolverines. I have a little challenge for you, third grade friends. If you want to, but you don't have to, you can write down some of your favorite facts that you learned about Wolverines from this story. And you can have your parents take a picture and send it to me, or you can even type it out and email it to me yourself. My email address is jbrown@pretzelpride.com. All right, guys, I hope you're staying safe and healthy at home, and I'll see you next week with another story. Bye.